Good morning. Happy St. Patrick's Day. It's Tuesday, and we were supposed to be at school today, but we're not. So I have my St. Patrick's Day shirt on and my St. Patrick's Day earrings that Kelly gave me to wear today so I wouldn't get pinched. So, anyway, here's our read aloud for today. It is called Celia Cruz, Queen of Salsa. So let's check this out. Really shiny. It is written by Veronica Chambers, illustrated by Julie Marin. Okay. In the fabled land of Havana, where rhythm grows sweet and juicy like oranges in Florida, there lived a girl. She looked like a girl and talked like a girl, but everyone who ever met her agreed she sang like a bird. When Celia Cruz was a girl growing up in Cuba, she could never hear the magic others claimed was in her voice. When she opened up her mouth to sing, she heard a girl like any other. But when she sang, her father heard thunder. Her cousins heard the call of the sea. Her neighbors heard a hummingbird. Celia would grow up to be a queen, but she was not born a princess. She grew up in a poor section of town, one of four sisters. Though the house was also home to numerous cousins. At times, there were as many as 14 children in the two-bedroom house. Still, young Celia always stood out amongst the crowd. Her mother liked to tell the story of how a tourist bought Celia's first pair of shoes after hearing the little girl sing. Like other girls in Havana, she had chores. Some of her friends were charged with sweeping the kitchen. Other girls washed the dinner plates. Celia's job was to sing lullabies to put her younger brothers and sisters to sleep. At night, her voice carried through the windows, rolling along the cobblestone streets. Like a wheel or a wish, the people in her neighborhood began to gather outside of her family's front door, begging her father to leave it open. They said her voice is tan dulce, sweet like azucar. Her voice, it was said, sent you not only to sleep, but to a nighttime land of angel dreams. Always shy and more than a little independent, Celia mistook the gathering crowds of busybodies, watching her every move. She pleaded, "If you don't leave, these little ones will never go to sleep." Despite her initial shyness, she could not stop singing. In the afternoon, after school, she would listen to the rapid fire calls and cries of the pregone, the street vendors calling out their wares. In time, people would recognize the passion and pulsating cries of the pregone in Celia's unique vocal style. In high school, she began singing in school shows and local clubs. The music that she loved, el son and la garacha, blended traditional Afro-Cuban rhythms with the flavor and folklore of the tropics. It was the kind of music that sizzled from the joy of being alive. Her father loved to watch his little bird song, watch her send 100 hearts soaring with her melodies. But he was also cautious. "Keep studying, mija," he told her as she hummed old Cuban love songs while absent-mindedly flipping the pages of her school books. "You are so smart. Forget about singing. Become a school teacher and make our family proud." Sounds like she really loves to sing. I know a lot of you guys really love music and singing too, and it makes us really happy, doesn't it? I think it makes her happy too. Her teachers, however, saw things a different way. "Take a chance," one professor told her. "With your voice, you could earn in a day what it takes me a year to make." But it is not easy to take a dream planted in your heart and make it grow in the world. Celia was unknown and did not have the kind of connections that easily opened doors. That means she didn't know people who could help her make her music be a job that she gets paid for or become famous. She didn't know people. Still, she dreamed at every opportunity, talent contests at the National Theater and amateur nights on the radio. She never forgot her father's lessons on the importance of education, and after graduating high school, she enrolled in Cuba's National Music Conservatory, where she studied piano, voice, and music theory. Then in 1950, she got her big shot. The most popular band of the day was a group called La Sonora Matancera, and they were auditioning for a new lead singer. When they heard Celia sing, the way she made each and every note swing, they decided to give the little songbird a job. At first, La Sonora's public was outraged. Who was this no name singer fronting their favorite band? The phones at the Havana radio station rang off the hook with complaints. At home, Celia began to wonder if she shouldn't take her father's advice and teach school. She was really the ruin of Cuba's most was she really the ruin of Cuba's most beloved band? She stood by the window, looking out at the stars. She feared she would never join, and Celia asked herself, why do I sing? Is it for fame and fortune and for fans that do not exist? So she's feeling pretty bad right now because people are mad that this girl that they didn't know from anywhere, well, she's not famous, she wasn't anything special, she was just an average person, is now the lead singer in one of their favorite bands, and they think she's not supposed to do that. But it's her dream, and she earned it by doing so good. Let's see what she does. No, she told herself, I sing for my parents, the ancestors, and the saints. I sing because when I lift my voice up high, I feel like the first pajaro of the day, whistling buenos dias to anyone who will listen. I sing for my little brothers and sisters and the sweet expressions on their face when they finally fall asleep. Sounds like singing to her is more important than just for money. Although Celia was seriously thinking about giving up her dream, her bandmates refused to allow her to quit. As a group, they rewrote the story of Cuban music with new arrangements and a fresh, innovative style. By the time she left Cuba in 1960, Celia was as beloved throughout the country as the men who made music with her. She'd even earned an affectionate nickname from her thousands of fans. They called the group Café con Leche, coffee with milk, because Celia's skin was very dark and her bandmates were very fair. In the United States, she became a citizen and her talent was rewarded with a permanent contract at the Hollywood Palladium. But once she left Cuba, politics dictated that she could never return. She would never again walk the streets of her beloved Havana. She would never again hear the cries of the pregón that were the bass and treble of Cuban street life. It was a heartache she carried her whole life through. Still, she kept her heart open. Lost loves made room for new loves, and it was there in Hollywood, that factory town of movies and dreams, that the young princess of salsa music fell in love with a knight in shining armor. His name was really Pedro Knight. He was the lead trumpet player of the Palladium Orchestra, and while he dazzled her with his high notes, he won her love with his understanding. She told him that her heart would always be split in three pieces, and only one part would belong to him. One part of her heart belonged to the music, and the third piece would always live in Cuba. Celia knew that she had met more than her husband. She had met an angel who would be her companion and protector in this land so far from home. Celia Cruz brought salsa music to every corner of the earth, from London to the Congo, from Brazil to Japan. She recorded over 20 gold albums and is known the world over as the Queen of Salsa. For more than 40 years, Pedro Knight was her king. Celia's performance trademark was a full-throated shout of azúcar. It's the Spanish word for sugar, and the only word many say that so perfectly described her voice. In the fabled land of Havana, where rhythm grows sweet and juicy like oranges in Florida, there lived a girl. She looked like a girl and talked like a girl. But everyone who ever met her agreed she sang like a bird. The bird grew into a princess, and the princess became a much beloved queen. Her kingdom was music, and those who loved her called her not by her name, but by the joy she inspired. At concerts, they called out, Azúcar! And Celia Cruz never failed them. She sung sugar, sweet sugar, wherever she went. Thank you, Mom. Wow. That was a good story. Why do you think the author wanted us to know about Celia? Do you think she changed the way the world saw music and her kind of music, her salsa music? And she was determined, wasn't she? She was determined to not give up, even when people didn't like her because they were taking their spot or the other person's spot on the band. They wanted her to quit, and she didn't give up. I hope you guys are having a great day, and I hope you'll find some way to be determined today to not give up. And I'll talk to you soon. Miss you guys. Bye. Bye.